Well, as much as I hate to admit it, Jay Leno nailed pretty much almost everything he had to say about Tesla, which is a huge shocker because for me, beyond the fact that he's a backstabber asshole who actually did a piece of shit move to Conan O'Brien, he's actually a known car guy. But also for me, he represents mainstream media. So whenever I see this kiss-ass mainstream media guy come on TV and praise Tesla, I listen. And hey, I watched this entire interview. I'm going to replay parts of it for you. And this dude nailed it. Well, at least most of it. And I really want you to hear what he has to say because it actually shows that mainstream media may be starting to get where things are going. Because honestly, at this point, they don't have a lot of choice. They can't ignore this elephant in the room anymore. I mean, Tesla is taking over. Even Jay Leno says it. And actually provides good arguments. Let me show you.
Jay Leno himself, now the host of Jay Leno's Garage here on CNBC. Incredible. Can you believe this company?
Everybody does, apart from you guys on CNBC. It's not news. It's old news, but I'm glad you guys are catching up.
I can't, I'm a huge believer in American innovation, American technology. For a while, we're getting like the British. We celebrated noble failures. Oh, yeah, well, we didn't think he could do it. And of course, he didn't. I love the idea. The genius of Elon was he was building the infrastructure as he was building the vehicle. Even today, a lot of the major manufacturers build an electric car. But where do you charge it? Yeah. Oh, you charge it at home. Yeah, but what if you're on the road? Where do you find the charger? Elon was smart. When he started, he knew this idea would work. So he built charging stations. So you could go to Vegas initially. You could go to San Francisco. And then he branched out to, you could drive across the whole country now.
So first of all, hey, Jay Leno deserves some credit because it's a really good answer. And it's very accurate. In fact, it's pretty much the Achilles heel of every EV play in the market right now. If you go back in history, some of you who are old enough like me to remember, the first huge EV play that actually hit the market was Better Place.
His company is Better Place. Their product, powering electric cars. Their vision, a world without oil.
We basically came out to a solution that has the ability to both charge your car when you're parked at home and at work, so you're always coming into a full tank, and switch your battery when you're going on the freeway, longer distance in the battery.
If your battery's dying and you still have a ways to go, you pull up to a switch station.
The battery goes in and out. It's supposed to take as long as it would to normally fill up a gas tank.
And you don't own the battery, so the car's around $10,000 cheaper. You just pay for the energy you use.
Better Place had everything in place and better, but they failed because they lacked the infrastructure to carry out this plan. Essentially, this was an EV play with a battery swap kind of situation, much like Neo, but unlike Neo, couldn't figure out the infrastructure. So as they were rolling out these cars, you couldn't find a place to freaking switch the battery. So the whole infrastructure actually failed the EV startup. Now, Elon, to his credit, doesn't pre-commit to anything. Everything he does is pre-sold. Cars are pre-sold, there's no stock, there's no dead inventory, and the infrastructure is well ahead of its time. If now, he's right. Things are moving much faster. And I think Jay Leno is actually getting it. And it's a shocker to me. But hey, good point, Jay.
You've been following this for a long time. There's competition in this lane now. Can this company sustain this growth? Can it take over this part of the industry?
I want to hear this.
Again, it's that, it was funny. I remember people saying, Tesla's doing fine, but once the other people get involved,
the Germans.
I've seen the electric cars from Europe, and they fall short. They don't have the range of the Tesla. They don't. I mean, because Tesla leads the field.
So first of all, about the Germans, we kicked your ass in World War II. So the Germans are not all that. You guys are overhyped. And just to be clear, a lot of love for my friends from Germany. I'm just kidding around. There's some World War II banter. We're all good. I like you guys. I love your cars. But in respect to electric vehicles, this man is right. If you compare the ID3, which is the first nice retail EV play they got going on out of Germany, it's nowhere close to what Tesla has to offer. And that's fine. They'll catch up and they'll become legitimate players in the industry, for sure. I'm not saying Volkswagen or BMW or Mercedes are going bankrupt. That I'm going to say about GM and Ford. But the Germans will be fine. They'll make good electric vehicles. But Truth be said, and again, Jay Leno nails it. They are about 5 years behind Tesla as far as range, as far as tech, as far as features, as far as pretty much everything that has to do. Not to mention the fact that usually German cars are in the higher tier of pricing. I don't think they can go down to $25,000, $35,000, which is where Tesla lives or plans to be living in the next couple of years. So for me, a perfect answer by Jay. Much love to Germany. I was just kidding around. I love you guys. But hey, the competition is coming. It's here. Tesla doesn't give a shit. Clearly. And just to be clear, this is not coming from a Tesla fanboy. A couple days ago, I made a video disputing Elon, talking about LiDAR. And everybody went in the comment section crazy. How dare you go against Elon? He's not my god. I like him. I like the company. But I'm not a fanboy. So when I say good things about Tesla, they have more merit than somebody who's on the hype train. Not to mention the fact that getting on this hype train is actually a good idea because it's a freaking phenomenal company.
We seem to have this inferiority complex that somehow things in Europe are better than things built here. I mean, General Motors builds a Corvette that rivals Lamborghini and Ferrari for $60,000.
Great point, which I just made earlier. Should have waited to let Jay finish. Was my fault. But here's the thing. He's saying the same thing I did. Teslas might be at some point comparable with the European cars. Sure. But the pricing of these Teslas at 25, 35,000, the Germans can't compete with that. They're not set up for these kind of pricing levels. They're always going to be at the higher tiers. That's why for mass market, this thing is not a good competition for Tesla.
I mean, the equivalent in European money for that sort of horsepower and handling would be at least $250,000. So, no, I have great belief in the American entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, the fact that Elon can send a rocket into space and land it back on Earth for what, a tenth of the price of what the U.S. government. Well, that's what private industry.
Hey, it did crash in the last time they tried it. Let's be fair about it. Plus, Elon is South African. Just so we're clear on, American entrepreneurship. But hey, I get it. It's an American company. He's pretty much American these days. I get it. I'm totally on board with it. But hey, and you know what? You gotta love how Elon handles social media. After that rocket crashed, you remember what he tweeted? I think it was something along the lines of a very successful trial. This guy's a genius.
He's supposed to do cheaper, faster, more efficient. That's how it got to be the American industry. We're able to do it better than the government could do it. And I think he's proving that.
Since we started promoting this segment yesterday, there are plenty of Tesla lovers. But there are people out there who are like, I want to hear the rumble. I want to feel the car. I don't want any of this. What are they missing?
Well, you can buy another car. I mean, it's a different look.
Hey, I got to call out Jay here. It's a little bit condescending. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot. Most of us can't afford a second car for fun. But hey, he doesn't know that. He's been pretty much shitting money for the past 30 years. He doesn't know how the rest of us live. He's just not there anymore, so I don't blame him. He lives in a whole different planet. That's fine. Let's hear what the man has to say.
I predict that, and I love these kind of cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Ford Cobras. You'll use them on weekends, the way you would use a snowmobile, recreation vehicle. Go up in the hills and have fun and go through the gears. But driving in downtown LA traffic for an hour and a half every day, bumper to bumper at 20 miles an hour, you're not going to hear any rumble. You're just going to waste gas. But if you're in a quiet electric vehicle, you're not polluting and you're saving. So
Well, can't argue there. Brilliant points by Jay. I think that even though he got a little bit condescending earlier, this is the actual answer I've been waiting for. Essentially, most daily uses of automobiles or any type of vehicles that people use for work and for actual errands, they don't serve the purpose of enjoying your ride. I mean, it's a very technical drive, probably in second and third gear most of the time, very slow speeds. You don't really enjoy the experience of driving when you're taking your kids to soccer practice or you're driving to work bumper to bumper, like you said. For these types of utilitarian vehicle uses, electric cars are much better than gasoline. First of all, they don't pollute, like you said. They're quieter and they're cheaper. What's better? Along the lines that also they don't actually break down as much as the gas cars. Let me remind you that internal combustion engines tend to break down more in city use versus on the road. So everybody knows it, right? When you're using a car, driving on the highway, it's cruising, the engine isn't really working that hard. On the other hand, when you're driving in the city, first gear, second gear, first gear, second gear, third gear, second gear, you're really killing the engine. So the wear and tear on your engine, on your car, on everyday uses is much higher than these recreational uses. But guess what? For electric cars, that doesn't matter. There's no wear and tear of the engine because literally there is no engine. So you can do these utilitarian drives with an electric car, save money on maintenance, on breakdown costs, on gas, and not pollute. I mean, it's a no-brainer, and I think he got most of it right.
You know, I bought a Tesla not because it was environmentally friendly, although it's a good reason, but because it was the fastest accelerating four-door car you could buy.
Gotta be honest, I like the fact that he's not trying to bullshit anybody. A lot of these celebs bought these cars about 5 years ago because it was trendy. I mean, the guy's honest. Hey, I bought it because it's freaking fast. Also a valid reason to buy Teslas. We almost forgot that part.
Like fast cars. And this happened, it had the range, it had the speed. I bought it in 2015. I have done nothing to it. It's never been to a dealer for a repair. I just drive it. When I want.
You have to put it on the shirt. Tesla. I just drive it. The man just nailed everything I said. There's no stuff that you need to do with the engine. There's no oil change. Nothing. It's a straight up beast. Whatever Tesla did or didn't do on the S&P 500, it's irrelevant. Whether you get in at 700 or at 750 or at 600, it doesn't matter. If you're buying Tesla, I'm expecting you to hold it for at least 5 years. So the actual $100 here, $100 here won't matter if you're holding it for half a decade. So stop worrying about share price. I think it's a good stock to have. But again, this is just my opinion. It's not an investment advice. This is just for entertainment. I might be wrong. It might be inaccurate. I might be crazy. Who knows? Allegedly, blah, blah, blah. We'll see you guys in the next video.